Welcome back. I'm joined now by Graham Cobb. He's the CEO of a new consulting firm called Paceline Strategies. Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you. Thank you for having me.
I want to fill everybody in on your background first. You've worked for Arkansas Business Publishing Group. You've been with the Greater Little Rock Chamber of Commerce, the Bentonville Chamber of Commerce as its leader up there, and then you also worked with the Walton family as a senior advisor.
Right.
And now you're out on your own. So
that's right. And I just told someone in your hallway that everything I learned in punk rock and pizza. So just throw the rest of that resume out.
Tell me a little bit about just kind of what you've been doing the last couple of years in terms of in Bentonville and also for the Waltons, just kind of on background.
Sure. So I had the great fortune in Little Rock of joining Jay Cheshire over at the Little Rock Regional Chamber as the number 2 Chief Operating Officer. And then in 2017, moved up to Bentonville for an unbelievable opportunity to run the Bentonville Chamber of Commerce.
And ride bikes a lot.
Ride bikes a lot. Yeah, that's a prerequisite. That's one of the things you got to learn how to do. And so we had a great opportunity to evolve a legacy organization that was really healthy, but look forward, kind of cast a vision towards the future, but then figure out what we needed to do in the present to maintain growth in a positive way, in a good way. And I left that role in 21, and at the beginning of 22, I served as connective tissue, if you will, for
That's a good way to
number of
describe it.
organizations in an ecosystem that cares a lot about Arkansas.
Yeah. It's been fun times. All right, tell me a little bit about Paceline Strategies.
Yep.
There are a lot of consultant firms out there, so I don't have them all on the show, but I know this one's special. So tell me what you're going to try to accomplish at Paceline.
Well, there are a lot of consulting firms, and there need to be, right? So especially with nonprofits and trade associations that, organizations that intersect community and economy. One of the things I learned in my chamber work and then kind of canvassing the state of Arkansas, and that was reinforced in the policy work I did, is that economies reflect the ethos of a community. If you go to Bentonville, it's a retail community, right? It's a retail economy. And in retail, everybody matters. So it's a very casual, kind community up there. You might go somewhere else and it's banking and finance and healthcare and government, and that might be a little bit more buttoned down.
Right.
No right or wrong. What I want to focus on is helping build capacity for organizations that help Arkansans earn more, learn more, and live well. So anything that is upskilling, reskilling, thinking about evolving workforce, any organization, trade group, chamber of commerce, member-funded organization that brings people together to talk about economic issues and ideas. I want to help them succeed.
Just talk about how you kind of root down into that, because this is something that always interests me. Obviously, our media organization is statewide, so I see what's going on in Northwest Arkansas, obviously Central Arkansas. We're up in Northeast Arkansas, which is booming in many respects.
Mm-hmm.
Fort Smith is having a resurgence, and I think some new identity that they are putting out for themselves. Kind of, how do you come into a community or an organization that you are wanting to work with and kind of assess those assets, those strengths?
Well, I think you have to sit down with the entire continuum of stakeholders. First of all, those within the organization. So that's the staff, that's the board leadership, to understand the jobs that are getting done and then the jobs that need to be done. But then you got to go and visit with the community. It's about a cup of coffee. It's about going to the diner and then going into the offices of the major employers. Where do we want this to go? What do we love about this community? How do we do more of that?
Yeah.
And then what are the opportunities right now to, maybe fix is the wrong word, but improve the outcomes that we don't love that are happening in this community?
Right.
We had an economic development campaign in Bentonville around attracting CEOs and founders of companies that over-index for the adventurous lifestyle, mountain biking and outdoor recreation. And it was called Because Bentonville. And it was rooted in the culture in Northwest Arkansas of getting out and playing on bikes and in the woods and on the trails and the hollers and the hills. Every community has something like that. You can't manufacture it. It's got to be authentic. It's got to be real. The magic of the state of Arkansas is in these little pockets and in these people that have a distinct culture and vibe. And
I get completely what you're talking about, because I do go to some places and you'll see a small circle of people that are advocating for a change. For instance, I've got some friends in Marianna, Arkansas, not a place that you'd think of as well off and prosperous like it was back in the agricultural heydays, but there's people who care there, who are willing to put some money into projects there and are trying to make some things happen there. That's key. These are the stakeholders that you're talking about. But I think every community has that handful of people that are willing to do those things. How do you draw in the additional people that have to be a part of that investment?
Right, Roby. So look, here's the opportunity in places like Arkansas is there is a redistribution of talent and brain trust going on in America. It started before COVID. It certainly accelerated during COVID. People are reconsidering where they want to raise their families. And Sunbelt states and places like Arkansas are really benefiting from this. You know, the IRS tracks this economic data. It's taxable income, right? And the in-migration of taxable income. And I think Arkansas is 12th in the nation. It's pretty darn good, you know? These communities have an opportunity to attract that and then prepare to keep that talent. You got to engage. You just have to show people that, look, we're not here to completely change what you love about this place.
Right.
Folks are moving here because they love what you got already.
Yeah.
When people are earning more, when people are learning more, when folks are learning well, we all are.
Yeah. I'm reminded of, and we've only got about 60 seconds left, but I'm reminded of a really interesting story. There's a place in Georgia. It was an old tobacco town, and I can't think of the name of it now. And what do we do good? We tell stories very well. They started a program called Swamp Gravy. Have you ever heard of it?
No.
And they basically hired a New York theater producer to come down, and they, with locals, put on all of these stories in an old tobacco warehouse that they turned into a theater. It has now become an arts economy for that community.
Wow.
It's full year, all around now. Jobs, growth. This is small town Georgia. Creative things like that are what Arkansas small towns could do, I believe. So.
I think you're right, and I think people are open to that. They want to know what makes a place so special, and if you want your kids to come back and live in your community, you're going to find a way to tell those stories to accelerate the vibrancy and increase the attraction that your community has.
All right. He's Graham Cobb. He is the CEO of Paceline Strategies. Good to see you, my
Thank
friend.
you.
Come back sometime. We'll talk about some of the projects that you get involved with as this thing develops. Okay?
Love to.
All right.
Love to.
We're back with more right after this.